Frank Carlton Serafino Farana Jr. was born on December 1958 in San Jose, California. He is of Italian descent on his father's side from Prato, Tuscany. Sixx was partially raised by his single mother Deanna Richards, and by his grandparents after his father left the family. Farana later moved in with his grandparents after his mother abandoned him. Farana relocated several times while living with his grandparents. Farana's uncle, husband of Deanna's sister Sharon, is Don Zimmerman, producer and president of Capitol Records. Farana had one full biological sister, Lisa, and has one brother, Rodney Anthony Farana, and a half-sister, Ceci. Farana grew up listening to Deep Purple, Harry Nilsson, The Beatles, The Rolling Stones, Elton John, Queen and Black Sabbath. He later discovered T-Rex, David Bowie and Slade. While living in Jerome, Idaho, Farana's youth was troubled. He became a teenage vandal, broke into neighbors' homes, shoplifted, and was expelled from school for selling drugs. His grandparents sent him to live with his mother, who had moved to Seattle. Farana lived there for a short time and learned how to play the bass guitar, having bought his first instrument with money gained from selling a guitar he had stolen. At the age of 17, Farana moved to Los Angeles and worked menial jobs such as working at a liquor store and selling vacuum cleaners over the phone while he auditioned for bands. He eventually joined the band Sister, led by Blackie Lawless, after answering an ad in The Recycler for a bass player. Soon after recording a demo, Farana was fired from Sister along with bandmate Lizzie Gray. Farana and Gray formed the band London soon afterward in 1978. During this time, Farana legally changed his name to Nikki Sixx. After a number of lineup changes, London added former Mott the Hoople singer Nigel Benjamin to the group, and recorded a 16-track demo in Burbank. After the departure of Benjamin, along with the failure to find a replacement, Sixx departed London. The group would go on to feature Sixx's former sister bandmate Blackie Lawless, Izzy Stradlin and drummer Fred Corey in 2000. A number of the London demos recorded with Sixx were included on London Days by Spiders and Snakes, led by former London guitarist Lizzie Gray. In 1981, Sixx founded Mötley Crüe alongside drummer Tommy Lee. They were later joined by guitarist Mick Mars through an ad in the local newspaper, and singer Vince Neil, with whom Lee had attended high school. The band self-recorded their debut album Too Fast for Love, which was subsequently released in November 1981 on the band's own Leathür Records label. After signing with Elektra Records, they re-released the same album. The band then went on to record and release Shout at the Devil, raising the band to national fame. They issued 3 more albums during the 1980s: Theater of Pain in 1985, Girls in 1987, and Dr Feelgood in 1989. The latter ended up being their most successful record, staying in the charts for 114 weeks after its release. During his time with Mötley Crüe, Sixx became addicted to heroin. On December 1987, Sixx overdosed on heroin and was reportedly declared clinically dead for 2 minutes before a paramedic revived him with 2 syringes full of adrenaline. After releasing the compilation album Decade of Decadence in 1991, Neil left the group and was replaced by John Corabi, who formerly served with the Scream. They released one self-titled album with Corabi in 1994 before firing him in 1996. Afterwards they reunited with Neil, with whom they released Generation Swine in 1997. Sixx had become controversial for an incident during a Mötley Crüe concert at Greensboro Coliseum on October 1997, in which he used racial epithets while goading the audience to physically attack a black security guard for repeatedly attacking a female fan. In May 2001, Sixx addressed the issue and claimed he had apologized to the victim of the incident. In 1999, Tommy Lee left the group to form Methods of Mayhem. He was replaced by former Ozzy Osbourne drummer Randy Castillo, with whom they released the album New Tattoo in 2000. The group went on hiatus soon afterward before reuniting in 2004, during which Sixx declared himself sober. A 2001 autobiography entitled The Dirt packaged the band as the world's most notorious rock band. The book made the top 10 on the New York Times bestseller list and spent 10 weeks there. In 2006, Mötley Crüe completed a reunion tour, featuring all 4 original members and embarked on a co-headlining tour with Aerosmith called The Root of All Evil. On June 2008, Mötley Crüe released their 9th studio album Saints of Los Angeles, with Sixx credited as either writer or co-writer on all tracks. Brides of Destruction were formed by Sixx and Tracy Guns in Los Angeles 2002, initially with the name Cockstar after Mötley Crüe went on hiatus and Guns left LA Guns. Sixx also invited former Beautiful Creatures guitarist DJ Ashba to join the group, however he declined to focus on his solo band. Ashba would eventually join Sixx in 6 AM. After a few lineup changes that included Sixx's former Mötley Crüe bandmate John Corabi, keyboardist Adam Hamilton and drummer Chris Coles of Adema, the group was composed of Sixx Gun singer London LeGrand and drummer Scott Coogan, formerly of Ednaswap and Anatena. They were advised by radio programmers that the name Cockstar would not be announced on air. They briefly adopted the moniker Motordog before settling on Brides of Destruction. They entered the studio with producer Steve-O Bruno to begin recording what would become Here Come the Brides. The Brides played their first show opening for Mudvayne and Taproot on November 2002, at the Ventura Theater in California. After signing a deal with Sanctuary Records, the group released Here Come the Brides in 2004, with the album debuting at number 92 on the Billboard 200, selling over 130,000 copies. A tour of the US-Europe including an appearance at Download Festival in the United Kingdom and Australia followed. On October 2004 it was announced that the group were to go on hiatus while Sixx reunited with Mötley Crüe for a reunion tour. The group continued without Sixx however, with Guns adding former Amen bassist Scott Sorry to the group as Sixx's replacement. The second Brides of Destruction album, titled Runaway Brides, released in 2005, featured 3 songs co-written by Sixx during the Here Come the Bride sessions. In 1989, Sixx was a featured guest artist on the album Fire and Gasoline by Steve Jones, formerly of the Sex Pistols. Sixx co-wrote and performed on the song We're No Saints. In 1991, Sixx played bass on Feed My Frankenstein on Alice Cooper's Hey Stupid album. Sixx co-wrote the track Die For You along with Cooper and Mötley Crüe guitarist Mick Mars. In 2002, Sixx played on Butch Walker's first solo album Left of Self-Centered. In 2005 he collaborated with the Norwegian singer Marion Raven on 2 songs, Heads Will Roll and Surfing the Sun, for Raven's debut album Here I Am. A new version of Heads Will Roll appeared on Raven's 2006 EP Heads Will Roll and on her 2007 US debut album Set Me Free. In 2006, he was one of the songwriters for Meat Loaf's long-awaited album, Bat Out of Hell 3 The Monster Is Loose. In September 2007, Sixx released a book titled The Heroin Diaries, A Year in the Life of a Shattered Rock Star, a collection of his journal entries from 1986 and 1987. Written with British journalist Ian Gittins, it presents the present-day viewpoints of his bandmates, friends, ex-lovers, caretakers, business associates and family as they respond to specific passages. The book debuted at number 7 on the New York Times bestseller list, along with Big and Rich and James Otto. Sixx co-wrote Ain't Gonna Stop for Otto's 2008 Sunset Man CD on Warner Brothers or Rayba Records.